Welcome to the Supercar Connection podcast. Find us on social at Supercar Connection, and full episodes drop Mondays on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe, send us to a fellow car lover. We appreciate all of your support. I'm Gavin, this is my boy Joe, and we're here to talk about cars. Joe Murph, how you been, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's
Welcome
good to
back.
see you. I'm happy to have you.
You have no idea. I look forward to doing this every single week.
Yeah, literally, this is a blast.
And what it does too is anytime anything car related happens to me, or I see a car, or I'm at the gym and I see something, I literally in my head I'm like, podcast.
Well, it's gotten me back, it's really gotten me back into cars like I used to be.
Right.
Like I used to be so tapped in and dialed in all the time. And then I think as of late, I've been slipping, but this has given me such a reason to we got the page, everything's just all car content, getting back into it.
Pulling us back in to when we were younger.
Getting back on gurus more.
I'm telling you,
checking
dude.
the prices.
I'm telling you, I know the market like the back of my hand.
Yeah, checking my Car Buzz app daily, getting all the new stuff.
I love it. And I feel like even from when we were little, the car industry when we were little versus now has changed so much. So I feel like there's even more things to engage. All the automotive makers are making such wild cars now, and concepts and all this type of stuff. They're making stuff that when we were little, I would have never thought that they would be making stuff.
Oh, there is so much stuff.
It's insane.
You think back in the day,
2010.
Yeah, I think 2010 to 2020. How much
much
stuff? The hypercar dynamic, whole new companies with
Super
multiple
SUVs.
cars that didn't exist at the time.
Different trim levels and different models of the same, or different trims and different specs of different models that are pointless. In my
McLaren
opinion.
wasn't making cars in 2010.
Yeah, pretty insane, huh?
And now they've had how many models out?
Ridiculous. How much depreciation?
Boatloads. Yeah, so the dynamic has changed so much, but back into it. So there might be some fatigue with some of it.
I think so.
It used to be a pretty simple game.
Yeah, and now they're just, it's, in my opinion, they're going all out. They're going crazy.
But social media has just turned up the heat to 1,000 for demand.
The exposure and the popularity of all this stuff to a whole other degree.
Yeah.
But now you got automotive makers making stuff that I don't even understand what they're trying to do. What is the the whole concept of the off-road type of some of these supercars? I'm like, what are they doing? What's the what we were talking about this the other day? What's the off-road ones that you were talking about?
The Lamborghini, no, I almost said Dakar. The Sterrato.
The Sterrato?
Huracan Sterrato, and then the 911 Dakar.
It's just gotten to a point where they're you know what? Everybody's buying this no matter what we put out. So let's just put out the most pointless thing possible.
But one of the beautiful things about the age of social media here,
I knew you were going to go with this. I knew you were going to go this way.
Is people are actually using them what they're built for. Because they're making video, that's the content they're making with it. So they're taking it off road. I saw some dude jump a Sterrato.
But it's all just for clicks.
For sure.
Everything is just clicks.
But to think that a Lamborghini was made for the off road and then someone's also doing it,
it's just ridiculous.
It's kind of insane.
Because
in 2010, I'm sure someone made an off road Lamborghini at some point, or just an off road supercar of some sort, just because they were insane and they had money. But it wasn't all over YouTube. It wasn't all over social media.
That's true.
Today, it's they're getting that from Lamborghini, ready to go with the lights
dialed in.
Yeah, raised up, all the stuff.
What you just said is the key component in the whole dynamic, though. Is the money is pointless for them. If you're going to spend $300,000 on a car, you're going to spend $300,000 on a 2-seater supercar that is made for the off road.
You know what it's perfect for?
What is it perfect for?
If I was rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in the Northeast, I would have a Sterrato, 100%.
Why is that?
Because usually, the dynamic up there, the snow starts falling, all that stuff. The supercars go to the garage for months.
That's true.
These dudes up there don't drive their car for months.
That's true.
They winterize their cars, and you got the Sterrato, a little snow on the ground. Who cares? I'm driving to work in a Lambo.
Going crazy in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That is a point I don't think I've ever thought about. It's actually a really good point.
Because we live in California.
Yeah, so we're a little spoiled.
That is not a dynamic we need to account for.
That's the whole point. I feel like most of the time when you see those cars, you see them here in LA, even in Southern California, or in Miami, or places where it's there's no need for this.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine there's probably a video out there someone's driving the Dakar through the Everglades in Florida, like just running over alligators and shit like that. Like they're doing pointless things with the cars. And I mean, again, to each their own. There's different levels to the game. So if you have that scale of money and you're just like, I feel like going to buy an off-road Huracan because my Aventador is already too boring for me, then that's fine.
You know who's got one on the social media game?
Who's got one?
That I used to be pretty tapped into is Salamandran.
The Salamandran.
Yeah, you know him.
He was back popular like 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's still popular.
He stopped making videos for a while.
That's what it is.
But now he's back. He just got a Sterrato, and he says it's like
what spec is it?
It's matte blue.
Matte blue. Of course it is.
But he says it's like he loves it. He drove like everything before he bought it because he was trying to find something. So he drove an STO and all this and pretty much everything else. But then he ended up with the Sterrato, and he says it's so comfortable.
It's ridiculous, man.
He says you can just like.
But it's like there's no way
drive it like a normal car.
Like you're gonna wake up and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go off roading in my Huracan today. It's like people who have like own G wagons or own even people who modify Jeeps to like have bigger tires and off road terrain. These are the type of people that never take those cars off road.
Yeah, you know how many like huge lifted $70,000 Jeeps they had in my hometown
that never touched dirt.
Never touched dirt.
That's what I'm saying.
You're
talking about your hometown, like Texas
in a
dynamic.
Garage,
in Texas, you should be able to at least a little bit, and I imagine they weren't. So you think here in LA, people are going to go off roading? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, there is a bigger off-roading culture here in like SoCal though.
Not
in
Texas?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so. People in Texas like go mudding, but the thing is here in California, since all the land is there's so much public land
that's true
that you can go off-road on, like that Texas is all private.
That's true.
You don't have public lands like that where people can just go drive a truck for fun on.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is take like your super loud lifted Jeep and like run into somebody's like tiger collection they have in Texas. And the next thing you know, you got a bunch of tigers chasing after you and a guy with a shotgun. But that's a different dynamic. Because here in LA, it's like you said, a lot of public land and like public grounds, stuff like that. But even still, like nobody goes off-roading. Or even if you do go off-roading.
Well, they're not taking those cars off-roading.
Which cars?
The people that are going off-roading are off-roaders.
Off-roaders. They have stuff.
They're not buying Sterratos.
No, they're not buying Sterratos. Exactly. They're buying Silverados.
They're buying Raptors.
Exactly. That's type. People buy those type of cars. I'm telling you, like, but it's honestly, I'm hating from a point of like, I respect the dynamic because at the end of the day, it's become so popular and there's such a big market for the cars that Lamborghini literally could be like, we're going to make an off-road version of this vehicle and we're going to sell out.
The problem is there's just like, you think about just the idea of this, like the supercar over time, like supercars are always pushing boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So first it's like kind of taking like a real, you're putting like real speed on the street. That's kind of like the original thing, right?
Right.
Taking these like race cars, putting them on the street, Ferrari style. And then it's like now how many cars are like that now? There's a ton of them. So the next boundary they got to push is like, oh, we got to make them like track focused. So then you have all these like hardcore track cars that they're just selling for the street. And then it's like now everyone's got, I mean, even the Ford Mustang's got one of those these days. So
see now, you just touched a really like weird topic for me. Is like this whole like track ready type thing. Like, okay, you go back to the release of like the Dodge Demon. You remember that Dodge Demon release where they like did this whole like what was it, like commercial where they talk about it being the fastest production car X, Y, and Z. The specs to get it to run 9s in the quarter mile. First off, for people who don't know or don't understand like drag racing specifically, because drag racing is different than like Nuremberg and like different tracks. But like the Demon was meant because of the fact the way that the Challengers are, it was made for like the drag, not Nuremberg, right? So drag racing to run 9-second quarter mile is ridiculously fast. Like 9 second is like insane.
720S did it.
Yeah, like that's when you're running 9s in the quarter mile, it's insane. Like I forgot exactly what it is. Depending on the track, that's like parachute level or like it depends on the second plus the mile an hour you get to. You got to do parachute. So Dodge released the Demon and were like fastest production car with like I think it was like 9.9 or something like that quarter mile time. But if you look at the clauses that they release with the title of like the fastest production car, it's the car comes standard with 1 seat. So when you buy the car, you have to, I think it's like a $1 option, but you have to like option check the other 3 seats. And then on top of that, like roll cage and like there's no AC, all some stuff to make the car lighter. You have to have the drag radials on it. The car doesn't come with the drag radials on it. It's like an option you have to.
Yeah,
And
it's
then you
like
have to get
it's
it tuned
it
for the
is
court
it
for the
is
drag
it
too.
is spec'd out for the drag strip standard,
Standard,
and
exactly,
then they option up all this stuff to actually put it on the street.
exactly. It's not even tuned.
But that's different than like you think about like the STO and like the GT3 RS and the GTD, like these
Yeah.
cars that are track cars. Like that's different. I feel like
That's fair.
Then because they're not really doing that.
No, they're not. They're not advertising like that.
I mean, you can still get an STO like without a radio. I think maybe no, but maybe without AC. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you either. But I just
That might be over.
that might
For
be
a while
over.
that was a thing. Like you get the
It
track
was.
car, it's like the
It was.
GT3 RS, like you could get it without like speakers and without
100%. Because at that point, when you have a car that's tailored, or you're trying to tailor it to the track, it's every pound is extremely crucial.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
people don't realize, you're talking about, like, for example, like 300 pounds difference. 300 pounds is worlds versus difference.
They're not shaving 300 pounds though.
Well, who's not shaving? Okay, well, not with like no AC,
These-
no radio.
these-
but,
yeah,
like,
these cars.
people think about dynamics
that's-
of when,
yeah,
like,
that's
you
a
tub a
lot.
car out and you take, like, for example, like the back seats out of a car. People are like, does that really make a difference? You're like, yes, it makes a huge
Oh,
difference.
It's for sure.
For sure. That's like, you have those little like light cars and you put, like, people drop like motors in them and they go crazy. Like, those are the drag.
If you don't
built
understand
cars.
it, step on the gas
Yep.
alone, and then step on the gas when you have 3 other people in your car.
Telling you, literally just pick up one of your heavier homies and then just drive around with him and you'll literally feel the difference.
I remember back when when I was up at UW, there was this hill that you had to drive up to get back to the dorms. Yeah, University of Washington. So after one of the, like, because freshman year I was one of the only people with a car.
Okay.
And I had the A5 back
on
then.
campus?
No, just like on the football team.
On the football team.
Yeah. So on the football team, I mean, there wasn't like free freshman parking. So a lot of people didn't bring their car freshman year. You're in the dorms, you're walking. But I had my A5 up there. So I was giving people rides all the time, like up to class or whatever from after practice and stuff. And one day I had 3 dudes in the back of my A5 squeezed in. We're talking
in the back of your A5?
We're talking linemen too, and then one.
Wait, your white A5 or the one before that?
The one before that.
The one before that.
So we've got.
It wasn't white, but yeah.
We've probably got an extra 600 pounds in my car on top of me.
That makes a big difference, especially in.
And I know that's a lot. That's more than most people are definitely shaving off for a track car. But I had like 600 pounds, and we're going up that hill, and I got nervous.
Really?
Yes.
Did you feel it in your right foot?
I could feel it.
You could feel it.
Your
car was like, yo, you better drop one of these dudes.
How high my RPMs were going with how slow we were moving. I was like, this thing ain't built for this.
I'm telling you, but people don't even realize that simple concept. Like, they think, like, for example, like, I used to be heavier. I used to be 300 plus pounds. You get into a car, or even like, I've been in like a couple like of these like rice burner type like Nissans and stuff like that. That me in that car makes a world's difference. But people don't even think about that concept. So like, when you talk about lowering weight for like speed and drag, it's the most prevalent thing. But like going back to like what I was talking about Dodge, is like, people don't realize, like, it's such face value. Like, Dodge is like fastest production car, and they just slap it on there, and people are like, oh wow, fast production, and they don't realize, like, they're able to say that because the technicality of the spec is not with this is crap, like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? But people don't even understand, or they can't even dig deep enough to like understand that scale.
Mm-hmm.
They just read what's there and they're like, yep, that's it. And then you go into like the off-road vehicles, they're putting these cars out there just because there's a market for it. But people aren't just looking at it at face value, and they're like, why would I buy something like this? But for people who $300,000 is $6 for them, they're like, off-road vehicle, cool, add to the collection.
Right, because
every option, boom, 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 boom.
Is that going to be anyone's like only car?
Never. Or
like
your first
if you're going to have one supercar,
you're like
a
creeping
Sterrato?
your way up the ladder, and you're like, all right, I'm in the 250 range now. I'm going to get a off-road Huracan.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. I'd have a like just a basic Evo.
100%.
Before a like,
I'd
rather drive a basic Evo before a Sterrato.
Give me a 2018 LP 610, and I'm good. Base. I don't
over
need...
Sterrato. I'd take a Sterrato before
You're
that.
crazy, dude. You're crazy. I mean, honestly, I get it because I understand the lure to it, even not the off road side, just the spec and like the options stuff like that.
That's really all it is.
For me, I just can't be seen driving around. Like if my car friends looked at me in that car, they would like be a nice car, but they'd be like, "Why do you have an off road?"
I'm not gonna lie, you would look ridiculous in that car.
I'd be like, I look Mr. Incredible in the
For some that car,
I'd be like this.
I would never get that car, but I feel like for some reason, if I stepped out of that car, it would make sense.
People are like, yeah, that dude fits in there.
Like, yeah, that dude, that makes sense. He would be the guy that rocks that.
That checks out. If I got out of it, they'd be like, this guy is ridiculous.
Yeah, you'd be like, why is this dude driving this?
Like, I hate this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
even you in an Evo makes a lot more sense.
That makes a lot more sense.
I would still make sense in
an Evo. I think
too,
me in like a Aventador or like a Bugatti or even like a
458 would be
458 would be nice. Certain type of Ferrari, F8 would be nice. Even like a, I think I would look best in like a Pagani. Or even a Koenigsegg.
I don't think anyone looks bad in a Pagani.
You don't think so?
No.
I guarantee you I can think of a couple people that look bad in a Pagani.
They look bad?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like you just disappear in a Pagani.
That's true. Because the craftsmanship of that car.
It's like if it was a video in real life, like you're just blurred. It's
literally.
Like you're not even there.
They're not even the focus of it. Literally.
Yeah.
Talking about crazy specs like that kind of car
Pagani's
is
got some crazy stuff.
Speaking of specs, this is time for our spec check of the week.
Spec check?
Let's run the spec check of the week.
Sure. What do we
We got some fun ones for you guys this week.
Yeah, what do we got?
Let's throw it up here on the old display.
What do you think about
Which one
green, Joe?
Say it again?
What do you think about green?
I feel like green. Thing is, I like the color green, but I feel like it just it depends on the car, the accents, and the shade of green that will weigh me in different directions.
Well, here we got this.
Okay,
we got this. We got this green STO.
This green STO, man.
What is it, like a dark green with the lime green?
See how the green it's lighter towards the front, and then as it gets back, it gets a little darker.
Yeah.
I can't tell if that's the lighting or if that's on purpose.
It's the lighting. I think this is like a color that what's it called? Light affects a lot. So it's like darker. You know, colors that are darker, and then when the light hits them, they kind of pop.
Can I tell you my honest spec check?
Yeah, let's hear it. That's what this is all about.
This is disgusting.
Disgusting.
This is an abomination of a color and even a spec.
You know, we polled this. We polled this, and you were the only one that voted trash.
I was the only one that voted trash. So I was the only one that knows what he's talking about.
You're the only one that
has good taste.
Yeah, you're the only one that has any taste.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. You know what it is too? Not only is it just the base color, the green, but that green with the lime green and where the lime green is accented and placed makes it 10 times worse.
You're crazy, dude.
You think that this green with this lime green lining looks good?
I think this is ridiculous.
Okay, if you put gloss black finish where all the lime is, I think it could look great.
Gloss black where all the lime is. So just a green STO.
Just like, yeah, but see, that's the thing though. That color green accented with black looks amazing. But on this spec, when the accents of the brightness, it tones down the green and it doesn't like put the green at the forefront.
You want to tell me what I think?
Go ahead.
So the green is nice, but it's just, I feel like it's too dark to be a solo color for this.
It's like the body
like for an
STO.
Green. Like an STO is too like you need more flair in an STO. I feel like. So you got the green.
That's fair.
If you just had this green, it'd be like kind of a weird choice.
That's fair.
But then you add the lime accents and it's like that's an STO.
I kind of get it. I get it.
It elevates it up and it's like it's not a lot, it's tasteful. And the two greens, you just don't see you had the same problem with the dark blue and the light blue last week.
I can't do it, man.
You don't like the same color combos.
I can't. It's not even that. Like it's just this lime color. It's just, you know what it looks like? Like I feel like I don't know how many like Marvel fans or like people who watch this type of movies, but like this literally looks like what like I imagine like the Green Goblin gets out of.
That sounds like a compliment.
Huh?
That sounds like a compliment.
That what?
Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin? Yeah. Out of all the supervillains in the world, you want to be the Green Goblin.
A Green Goblin of Lambo?
That's ridiculous, dude. No.
Look at this. It's even like pointy, like his little mask. This is the Green Goblin.
This is the Green Goblin.
This STO.
The Batmobile
is the Green Goblin outfit.
This is ridiculous.
He would for sure drive this.
Can I see the wheels again?
I think they're just the black standards.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like it. I think that everybody who voted that this was nice on our poll they're out of their mind, including you. You guys are out of your mind.
I don't know, man.
You guys tell us what you guys think about this one, but for me, this is just not. It doesn't do it.
Here's my last thought on this. Would I spec it like this? No. Is this the one I would buy? No. But do I think it's clean? Yeah.
So like, what does that mean then? Like it's so then do you really like it, or do you
Yeah,
just,
I
can you
like
just
it.
appreciate it for what it is and that's it?
Yeah, I can appreciate it for there's going to be plenty of specs that you like, but there's obviously something you would rather have, right?
Oh yeah,
Like if
obviously
you're
first
specking it,
choice.
there's a lot of things out there that I'm going to be like, that's sick, but obviously I'm still getting purple.
Tell you might see like if this car had bronze wheels, it would just be perfect then.
Oh, that
Just
would
throw
be
bronze wheels
nice.
on there and we're good.
Even bronze accents instead of the lime green, so bronze wheels and the bronze like pinstriping.
Please don't go there.
No,
Bronze pinstriping and bronze wheels? Have you lost your mind?
That-
Bronze accenting? Could you imagine that green with bronze mix?
I think it'd be.
It would look like a baby's diaper.
I think
Like
it'd
that
be
looks
sick.
ridiculous.
Okay. So you just want bronze wheels. You want green, gloss black, and bronze wheels. That's that's what you would do with this
My
color.
problem is I'm just too simple. Like I like simple colors. I like
Yeah.
the blacks, the whites, reds. Blue is
Sometimes
depend-
yellow.
Sometimes yellow, even like a silver.
Mhm.
I can't do these wild colors. And then you add not only the base color being a little different, then you add the accent crazy too. What I will like, I like the calipers.
Oh yeah.
I like the calipers. The
Can't
lime
hate
green
on
calipers,
calipers.
that does it for me. But then again, go like throw it all black.
I feel it.
What's the next
I
one
don't
we got?
necessarily agree, but I can go with it.
Can I get one that I like?
Yeah.
There it is. This is the one that I like. This is literally art on wheels.
Oh, we just have the one picture.
What do you think about this one? What are your opinion?
Incredible.
Are we on agreements on one?
We're on agreement. Oh, this is your Superman spec. You're always talking about a Superman spec
I'm always like, I've always kind of wanted to have a Superman spec car.
because it's like baby blue, yeah.
To be honest with you, this is arguably one of my more like favorite color combos. Is that this like baby blue with red?
Yeah,
It's
this
gorgeous.
is incredible.
I mean, the thing is it the color and like the spec, or is it the fact that it's a pure sport? That
It's
we like so
both.
much?
It's
both,
both.
right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like at this point, like this might be one of the only cars that like it could be any color, and I like it.
Pretty much.
Like I even
It's
like
tough. It's tough to beat.
it really is tough to beat. I even like Andrew Tate's spec on
Yeah.
his pure sport.
We talked about that last week.
I
bronze-
like talking about it. I'll talk about it
The bronze pure
every
sport.
day, every week. That like
So imagine this, because this is. I don't want to say similar. Forget I even said similar. But imagine like
I'm not gonna forget that
because he's got like a red stripe on his, right?
I think so.
Imagine this with like a red
Does he
with a
have a
red
stripe?
stripe too. Like imagine
Down
this.
the middle where the black is.
Yeah, imagine
that
like
would be
the
pretty
style is the same as his, except it's this color instead of the bronze.
That would be pretty clean. I think the red interior is what's doing for me. I am for red interior. It really just does something to me.
A red interior is tough to beat.
It really is. It really is. Like
I love
to be
a red
honest with you,
interior. That's why I have red interior. That's why you have a red
I
interior.
have red interior as well.
Red interior people.
Red interior, literally. Like I think if you told me that last Huracan had a red interior on that green one, I might like this.
You want the watermelon spec?
I want a watermelon spec. I want to be able to open my door from my green to see just red with seeds. That's
That
all I
dude
wanna
loves
do.
watermelon. You got a dark green and light green outside with the red inside.
Yeah, that's hot.
The black carbons, like the seeds.
That's hot.
Yeah, I do want to own a car at some point with a blue interior though.
Blue interior?
Yeah.
What tone of blue? Any blue?
Obnoxious blue.
As in what?
Any blue.
Any blue.
Either royal or I could do like a
Don't say navy.
what?
Don't say navy.
No, I was gonna say like a repeat.
Okay, perfect. All right. That because in my head I thought of those two colors.
Like the baby blue that like Lambo does.
That's
Like that
clean.
or just like a royal blue. Either works for me.
I'm good with that.
I want to rock a blue interior at some point.
What's our last one for the week? What's our last spec check of the week?
That's all we get for the Pure Sport.
That's all we give the Pure Sport. I agree. I think we're
It's
both
just
in
it's just too
agreement.
good. There's nothing
There's
there's
not really
nothing to
much
argue
debate
about.
here.
Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
perfect. I mean, you know what I would argue
The
too?
Pure
What I don't
Sport
like
itself
about
is
it,
what?
where the way that they have the roof, where the black cuts off. If they had the entire pillar of the car black, okay, see the body line where the window cuts into the quarter.
Yeah.
That line. If you continue that line to where you hit the windshield, make that blue part black.
Yeah, the A pillar
Oh my goodness.
up to the roof. Yeah,
That would be the car would look lower, and that would be the only thing. But again, it's not even talking about it being bad. It's
like my
literally
car
talking
with the
about
black roof.
your
huh?
car with black roof. It looks insane. The car looks beautiful.
For those of you don't know, Joe Murph hooked it up on the black roof.
Yes, sir.
Um,
What's our last one? Oh my gosh.
last we got this
Oh
Carrera
my
GT
gosh. Oh my gosh.
in the like forest green,
You
something
know,
like that.
You know, honestly, the green for me is not the problem here.
Really?
I actually kind of like this green. For whatever reason, for me, the problem is these wheels in this caliper combo. I mean, it's kind of the right caliper combo because of the Porsche emblem, but I think for me it's just the wheels.
Yeah.
What do you think about this one?
I
You like
love
this
the
one?
wheels. I love
Oh
the
my
wheels.
goodness, I can't do the wheels, man.
I saw another because there's a couple of CGTs on these wheels now.
Is there?
Yeah, these HRE wheels.
This whole HRV, this whole wheel trend, man, has gone insane.
So I've seen like a baby blue one on these wheels and like a black one on these wheels.
See, baby blue. Wait, on that exact color wheels?
Yeah.
See, I don't even think it's
you want a black pair.
I just need, I think it's just the color. Like, if you gave me gloss black, even white with this exact spec, I think it's perfect. But this, like, what is it? Like a steel or like a silver? It's like a silver, no?
Yeah, it's just like
I can't do it.
It's like like unpainted finish, just aluminum finish.
It's gross. I think it's gross. And
here's
the
one
brown
thing
interior,
that I've been enjoying though, because like the Carrera GT is like almost all silver, almost all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like what they made. This is back in the day, like we were talking about last week.
Yeah,
stuff was simple, right? And people have been dialing it up more lately. And then you got these cars; they're so expensive. But you've had people straight up repaint them,
full repaint,
like
door jams included,
like certified, probably like $50,000 paint job. Take the entire car apart, repaint.
I don't know, man.
And then you've had people obviously wrap them. That's a lot cheaper and simpler. But you've had people like put the money in to be like, I'm gonna spec this how I want. Pretty much.
Is that because realistically, 9 times out of 10, when you repaint a car, even if you do even the door jams, everything, it devalues the car.
Oh, for sure. But they don't care.
They don't care.
We're talking about people
like insane people. That
they're buying a $1.2 million Carrera GT, and then they're spending $50,000 to paint it. They don't care.
They don't care.
But they all have, that I've seen, have used like Porsche colors.
The Porsche
like official colors. Yeah. So they're not just like making something up. It's like something to do with like Porsche heritage to kind of like try to keep the value.
That's understandable. But then it better be a damn good paint job.
That would probably raise the value for some people today. You think about it?
You know what it is too? Like we talk about going back in the day, like the simpler specs and the simpler concepts. I think one of the things, like going back to like social media and the growth of the car industry, the people who are buying these type of vehicles have completely changed.
Yeah.
The type of person 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the people, or I guess the type of people who are now in better positions to afford these cars has changed. I feel like social media influencers and people who are utilizing the internet to make a source of income, those type of people, for them, they're a lot different than the traditional career paths that have created like that type of wealth, like doctors, even like high-end dentists, like certain things like that, lawyers, attorneys, like that type of dynamic. Those people are a little bit more like simple cut. And then now you have like social media influencers that are like, their whole dynamic is being loud and colorful and stuff like that. So now those people are in the same level that they can afford these cars. So now that there's a market to appeal to the crazier specs.
Yeah. It's trickling down to the lawyers and the doctors and those people too.
It really is.
Because I've seen some older dudes that have some crazy specs.
They kind of like it too. They're like living out like their childhood dreams.
Right.
They like thought about this would be good.
But then you have other people that just go and buy a black DB11.
What's wrong with a black DB11?
It's a safe choice.
It's beautiful.
I mean, I don't even.
Are you talking about like a black with like silver trimming, or are you talking about like a murdered out DB11?
I'm just talking about the silver trim.
Silver trim, that's fair.
We're talking about the 60-year-old retired guy.
Walks in a dealership.
Just sold his business. He goes and gets a black basic DB11.
Black basic DB11. Paid over sticker for it. Doesn't care. Got screwed on the warranty.
That's what.
Never going to touch the car. Never going to modify the car. Just drive it. Probably won't even tint the windows.
No.
You look over, he's sitting there, just all happy and dandy.
But that's his daily driver. He's not posting on Instagram. It doesn't matter. He just bought his Aston Martin that he always wanted.
That was the original
Those
market.
guys still exist. But yeah, that used to be everyone.
Those people used to be the market. Like that used to be who bought that car, and that was it.
I have one more theory on this too, though.
Let's hit it.
So you got the just how comfortable everything's gotten. You know what I mean?
In what sense?
You know when the R8 came out and it was like, this is the first daily drivable supercar. That's kind of what people said about it. And then everything that came after that can pretty much like kind of be daily driven.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, those Ferraris and Lambos in the 90s and like early 2000s were not made to drive every day.
Not at all.
They were made to like barely be driven.
That's true.
Even when you look at like the servicing and like how high maintenance they were compared to today. Like cars were not as those cars were not as bulletproof as they are. Like
true.
Ferraris back in the day, you had to pull out the whole engine
To do an oil change.
to do certain servicings.
It's ridiculous. That I agree, because then you had less miles over time, and the car, like the servicing and the type of maintenance that vehicle had required.
Today, people are
has
driving
changed.
40,000 miles.
Easy. And like I've seen Urises and a lot of Lambos here in Southern California, even the ones that are listed like for on the market right now, 40, 50, 60,000 miles. I never thought we would get to the point where like there's Lambos selling for 60,000 miles.
Bro, how like I see Urises everywhere, and then they hold their value too. So like, you got to tell me this, like
Urises are
how these people of like how does everyone in LA afford an Urus? Because I literally see them all over the place.
They're pretty common, huh? They're almost turning in like Camrys here.
Yeah, they're everywhere. It's what the G-Wagon used to be, pretty much.
It's becoming the new trend. To be honest with you, I feel like most people don't understand like the nitty gritty dynamic that like exists in Southern California. I'm gonna put everybody on some game.
What are you talking about?
People who don't understand like the way things work, or I guess have never really thought about this concept. Like for example, one of the more common cars we can both easily agree on is the Urus. Here in Southern California, Lamborghini Urus has become a staple. Like I can guarantee you, if I go in certain areas, I'll see 5, 6, 7, 10 of them.
Yeah.
The thing is, what people don't realize, what happens very commonly is you have, for example, like you get a group of guy friends, okay? You get 4 guys that all into cars, the whole nine, and they have their dynamics going, whatever their job is, right? They'll pull together and they'll buy a Urus, the 4 of them, okay?
The 4 of them?
They'll split the monthly payment 4 ways, and everybody takes a week turn with the car.
Are you serious?
100%.
4 dudes.
This is the most. You can have 4 dudes, 2 dudes. Sometimes you even have 10, 12 dudes. It just depends on the scale. You can have 10 guys with 3 different cars.
You've met people like this?
I know people personally, and I've seen people
that are splitting payments
for cars. Like I have friends that like there's 2 of them that have a Urus. They have 1 Urus. They get it. I think they switch between weeks and weekends, and then they flop. So like you get one guy gets it week, and then weekend. And the same thing for 2 weeks, and then the back end they switch. You get it for the 5, and I get it for 2, and they split the payments, split the insurance, split the payments, split the maintenance, everything.
That's wild.
It's insanity. So literally, they'll get like
no wonder I can't afford anything.
I'm telling you, people don't realize.
I gotta find a buddy who wants to split.
That's what I'm saying. We might as well get a Supercar Connection duo car and get like even something insane. But like people don't realize. Like I mean, again, for me, there's no problem with that dynamic. But I feel like some people are like, I would never do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But like, if whatever has more means for me to be able to get into something, because I feel like once you break the barrier to entry, and like it becomes a possibility, then the next step of you getting your own is coming.
Yeah.
So, but like you have to at least get into it. It's like people talk about like how to make more money and do certain things. You got to be around the money first before you can start making more money. So people who split a Urus, that dynamic of having a Urus, that week with the Urus, you might go to the gym and then a person sees you with the car and then you connect and then all of a sudden new business relationship. Or you go to a car meet and you meet somebody and then now you have a new client for whatever you do. All from just the 1 week that you had the car. And then the same thing for your buddies. And then now all of a sudden you have 4 people with 1 Urus. 6 months later, you got 4 Uruses and they got their own Uruses because the 1 Urus helped them grow whatever their situation was. But that is so common here in SoCal that people don't even realize.
That's quite some logic.
Telling you, you think it's the same thing like Uruses?
I don't think everyone ends up with 4 Uruses in 6 months.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, there's places probably that did do, but no, not at all. That was a little bit of an extreme example.
Some dudes just scheme the system
100%
for a while.
A lot of scheming in the system. But that, what we were talking about, that is extremely, extremely prevalent. And people who don't know, that's some game for you guys. So if you guys are debating on getting a Urus or getting a Huracan or a 458 or a 488 or a what's the new Ferrari that's coming out? The SUV. Why am I blanking on the name?
Pro Sangue?
There. What? Bless you. But yeah, that. You're thinking about getting that? Get a couple of your buddies together, split the payments, and be happy and have fun driving it. That's what I would do.
That's quite a concept.
If we were to get a car, what would we get? If we were to go halfers on a car.
Halfers on a car?
Halfers on a car.
My half still isn't enough.
Even regardless or not, let's not even talk about what we could actually afford. If money wasn't an object.
You already know we'd go on an Evo.
You think so?
You don't think so?
I don't know. I feel like if it was you and I feel like we should do something that's like a little bit unique. Like I can see us going half on like an F12 or an 812 Superfast or like what's the Ferrari you like?
Ferrari scares me.
Why?
Because
What's wrong with Ferrari, Gavin? What's wrong with Ferrari?
Well, so you showed me a service bill one time for one that you
They
that
can
you
get
that you saw
they
and
can
I
get
saw.
they can get pretty scary.
What was that service bill? How much was
I
it?
think if I remember correctly, it was a service bill for like $22,000, something like that.
$22,000.
I
How
mean,
much? So what would that be for me? What's that divided by two?
22,
11?
11,000,
11,000? Just a
literally.
quick 11K?
Maybe
Yeah, that's why Ferrari scares me.
So the thing, I mean, obviously, every supercar has its own dynamic, but like Ferrari is most commonly like when no matter what the model is or year, or I guess the newer ones are a little more bulletproof than the older ones. But like for a prime example is like Ferraris, like the 458s and the 488s. Those cars, every time they get to like the $12,000, $15,000 range, 15,000 mile range, they're usually due for a big service, which is that service I showed you. Like, I think that service included like rotors change, oil change, brake pads change.
But the spark plugs were like
spark plugs,
$2,500.
$2,500 spark plugs.
That's crazy.
Insane. I'm telling
That's
you. But
crazy.
like,
I thought it was crazy when I was quoted 500 for some spark plugs.
telling you.
25?
Partly what it is not only, I imagine, I don't even know what the spark plugs would cost on that, but not even the labor, it's the knowledge is what you're paying for. Like you're paying for the labor, but you're also paying that somebody who knows how to change the spark plugs on a Ferrari. Because you and I can go play makeshift mechanic in our garage and try to change the spark plugs on a Ferrari.
For sure.
But I guarantee you something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, I changed the spark plugs on my 4C, but it's not a Ferrari.
I think you're probably one of my people that I know personally that's like super mechanic. Like
super mechanic.
You do like most of the work on your Alfa Romeo,
Well,
which I respect.
Well, they want to charge just dumb money. It's a very simple car.
That's true.
That's what I'm like. That's what I've kind of learned, and it's just
it's simple in some dynamics, complex in other dynamics.
I'm not going to try to like take the car apart.
No,
but the interior dynamics, like I mean, the panels are all pretty straightforward. Things just pop off. Like wheels, that stuff. I did like the air filter. It was super easy to get to.
It's my favorite.
All that
thing.
stuff.
My favorite thing. It's like
take out the wheel liner.
It's literally like a Tuesday night. 9 o'clock at night, I'm relaxing. And all of a sudden, I get a text message from you, and I look, and it's a photo, and you're like, the car's jacked up, your wheel liner's off, your wheels off, and I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm playing mechanic. I'm like, you're gonna mess your car up. Dude.
You got to learn somehow.
That's true.
So I've done some of the stuff because it's just like it's easy and it's cheaper, and I like kind of learning that side of things.
It's a good skill set to learn. I feel like most people even like our generation, like people don't even know how to change a tire.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like you should know.
I've had to change my tires so many times.
Telling you, and like, could you imagine? You know what's dying too? I mean, it's also dying because they're stopped making them. But like people learning how to drive stick.
Yeah,
you know, people don't know how to drive stick. They're also not. They're making less and less stick cars. Like I feel like
unpopular
even a manual
opinion?
transmission, huh?
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah, hit me.
I kind of hate driving stick.
I hate it too. Not unpopular. Popular opinion.
You think?
Oh, change. This is a popular. This is a great topic. This is a popular opinion
because that's why no one makes it anymore.
100%. The thing is too. I think it depends on where you live and the dynamic. But like what people don't understand is like if I have let's say for example, give me just like a Huracans don't have them, but like a manual transmission or Huracan. Okay.
You can do a GT3.
Okay, let's do a GT3
or
manual transmission in a 15 Porsche GT3. Okay. I'm sitting on the 405. In bumper to bumper traffic, okay, in my GT3, and every couple minutes in first gear I have to go, and then all of a sudden I either have to shift in the second or I have to just let it come back down, and then I have to hold the clutch, and I'm sitting there in traffic, and I have to hold it in gear. That dynamic every single day, here and there, back and forth to traffic alone makes it inconvenient.
Yeah, I mean here for sure. Not everyone lives here though.
Even still,
but I'd rather even if you're just like. This car will be dropped off to you in the canyons. And
no,
any canyon drivers are going to absolutely hate me for this because the canyon driver people are definitely the manual people.
Absolutely.
You're like, we will deliver the car and pick the car up at the bottom of the canyon. I'd still take PDK.
Same. So would I. Well, the thing that people don't realize, and I hope people argue with me on this exact point that I'm about to make, regardless or not, if it's you're a car guy and like, oh, I drive stick and like my manual transmission. Automatic transmission will always be faster than a manual transmission. No matter how, there's people who are like, depends on the driver, bro. No. No matter how good you are.
Clutch is super engaging too.
It doesn't matter.
You're still in control.
You cannot beat.
Except now I don't got to do 7 things.
Literally. Like one of the cars that I think is like people sleep on, and it's like probably arguably one of the great cars that you can buy on the market right now is like you take a brand new are you familiar with the Camaro Z01s?
Yeah.
The new ones. They have 10-speed automatic transmissions.
Wow.
That transmission is insanity. But that
so you're probably
car,
like Like,
telling you,
just
it's insane.
straight up the line.
It's insane. Those cars alone, because of their transmission, makes them second up. But you take a manual version of that car, because they have manual versions and they have automatics. You race them, the automatic will blow the doors off the manual. Or may not blow the doors off it, but incrementally, it'll beat it.
But for those people, it's all about the engagement. It's not about the speed.
It's the feel. It's the fun of the drive.
But I just don't even. I don't find it fun.
I don't find it fun either.
And here's my credibility. I've owned a manual car.
Yep.
Like I had a Lotus Elise supercharged for a while, and I really didn't love it.
You didn't like it?
I liked everything except for the manual transmission.
I just think it's very inconvenient.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that like it's funny to say out loud, but like people don't realize it. But like this is why I hate manual transmissions.
Let's hear it.
I'm a larger human being on the scale, so my leg, to be able to like pick my leg up and hold it and like press the clutch in and like have the smoothness of like the timing of when to release the clutch and to shift it and like not stall, my leg gets heavy after like a 10-minute drive, and like literally I get tired.
Your quad starts tightening
up. My quad starts tightening up, and then my back hurts because I've been angled and I'm trying to like my knee, and I got bad knees too, so like it just throws the whole dynamic off. That alone, I don't want to drive a manual.
That's fair.
Then on top of that, it's slower. It's just inconvenience. I feel like that's not an unpopular opinion. I feel like popular opinion, manual transmissions are dying out. I mean, again, car enthusiasts will argue it that manual transmission this, blah blah blah. No. Yeah. Automatic transmission is where it's at. It's where the future is. It makes the car faster.
That's one of the common hates on the 4C.
That it doesn't come in manual?
Yeah, there's the amount of comments on the internet I've seen of people being like, if this was a manual, they would have sold so many. I'm like, that's crazy.
Dude, your car...
You think that you represent the entire market. Your ego is that high.
Your car is one of the best and like fun cars to drive. Your car is a driver's car, similar to all the Porsches and everything, but your car is like a unique drive. The weight of your car, the way it is, the no power steering dynamic. Like, if that was a manual, I think I'd throw up if I had to like drive that car manual.
That's what a lot of the 4C owners say too.
That they want it manual, that it's a driver's car.
That the dual clutch like fits it better.
It fits it better. I'm telling you,
especially with the turbo, like how boosty it is.
The
like
RPMs.
You're gonna drive. You're gonna drive that stick. Like that would not be fun. The whole car would have to be changed to fit that dynamic.
If manual transmissions were really that much better, they would still be making manual transmissions, but they're not.
True.
Like
except
everything
new. Porsche's the only one.
Porsche's the only one, but that's a whole different dynamic. But Porsche's like a whole different dynamic. But like you can even take like every new supercar comes out, automatics.
Yeah. When's the last time Ferrari made a manual car? The 360. They didn't make the 458 and manual.
But Ferrari's a little bit different dynamic because Ferrari, you have some of those gated shifters.
Yeah, Lambo was gated too.
Those are pretty clean though. I'm saying like that manual transmission, not to own or to drive all the time, but like if I could drive that type of manual, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
but like not consistently. But that specific gated shifter, that's pretty nice.
Well, the Lambo was gated too.
Lambo, whatever,
like
the gated transmissions.
The gated Murcielagos go for big cash these days.
Big cash these days. All those vintage cars goes for big cash these days. I feel like a lot of cars are going to start appreciating. I feel like the car market is going to change too. I feel like now, I think we're transitioning into the next period of the car market. So like a lot of the cars in our childhood that were like common, that are now being discontinued, they're going to start going up in price. Yeah, slowly. Like I think my personal opinion is like the Ferrari 458 is going to go up in value. I think.
I think it's for sure.
For sure, it's going to go up in value. In my opinion, I think you get a lot of these. Even some of the pricing on some of the newer cars that are coming out, I think are going to change too. Like going into like we can go into this. Would be a perfect time to segue into.
I think the 458 is going to probably surpass the 488 at some point.
Now you're talking, Gavin. I agree with you. I think what I've heard from people who have owned both or have driven both is the 488, because it's twin turboed. It's no longer. They changed it and it became like the first like not traditional Ferrari. The 458 with the naturally aspirated motor.
And I heard the F8 is a lot better.
The F8
than the 488.
Yeah, the F8's ridiculous.
The F8, it's like they figured it out. They dialed in like how to make the turbos work.
Perfect.
But the 488 was like the find out period.
They were like, all right, is this gonna work? Let's feel it out. Like kind of like.
But then the 458 being the last naturally aspirated V8 Ferrari is gonna take off.
It's gonna skyrocket. I think that car's gonna skyrocket. That car is that like that 9. People forget that car redlines at 9,000 RPMs. That sound is
Oh.
it's very unique.
The sound is
It's very unique.
ridiculous.
You can't. I mean, granted, like V12s, they have that sound that's extremely unique. This V8 is extremely unique.
Flat plane crank, huh?
It's different, man.
It makes it higher. It makes it more
does.
like the.
It has that high pitched tune to it, that
Right.
like Ferrari tune. The 488 sounds amazing, but it just when you hear the two, that 458 has history in that whole naturally aspirated dynamic
That
of Ferrari.
sound.
I'm telling you, what do you think? What do you think they can get as high as? And timeline wise, what do you think?
Yeah,
If you had
because
to-
right
if you had
now
to
they're
guess.
what like a decent one's like 200. That's like towards the bottom.
I would say
probably.
average price is 200,
Okay.
depending on the year, the spec, the color, the
Yeah,
mileage.
I feel like that's kind of what I've seen. And
But
it could
200
go
is
up to like
probably average.
250 for like a really low mileage high
Yes.
spec or something like
yeah,
that.
like a 15 Italia, or I'm sorry, a Spider with like
Yeah.
low mileage. I think I've seen them as high as like upwards of almost 300. Not quite, but
Yeah.
almost.
So I think the average will climb up to, I think we'll see 280 pretty quick, up to like 300.
That would be insanity.
300 might be a few years, but
I could
like,
see it happening though.
But the value of that car is just going to like continually climb.
Absolutely. And
With-
as time goes on too, we'll get less on the market. God knows if some get totaled, and now next thing you know, there's less on the market and there's less cars exist, and just slowly as time goes on, it's going to creep up in value.
Yeah.
It's like I know one of the other cars that I've seen go up insanely, and people don't realize it's probably going to keep climbing. Are you familiar with the 2019 Chevy Corvettes, the ZR1s,
Yeah.
the 1 year ZR1s?
Yep.
Do you know how much those cars came out for? Like what they were priced initially?
I do. You know why I know?
Why do you know?
Because me and my dad went and looked at one,
I forgot your dad's a huge Corvette guy.
and I low key talked him out of it.
You talked him out of it?
Kind of.
What do you mean, kind of?
It was it's my worst move ever.
Gavin, oh my goodness.
I didn't necessarily
What
talk
did you
him out of it
What did you say to him?
because he didn't love it.
He didn't love what?
I mean, he
He didn't love that spec, or he didn't love the car?
so he wanted an orange Corvette, the Sebring orange. That's what he wanted.
The new Sebring orange.
Yeah, because that was always like his dream, orange Corvette, like as a kid. So, we
Okay.
went and there was an orange. What's it? ZR1.
ZR1.
There was an orange ZR1 nearby, so we went and looked at it, and they had it for 142.
When was this?
142
You guys looked at it in 2019
in
or
2019? In 2019, it was brand new.
Yeah,
It had
142.
just come in.
Yeah.
And think about just the fact that that car was
It's
on a
142.
dealer floor, not pre-sold, selling its sticker. That's
Yeah.
where we were in 2019. Think about
I
that
can't even
today.
think about it.
You can't. I mean,
Doesn't
Must-
exist.
yeah, Ford's selling a Mustang for $300,000, and they've got a 1 year ZR1 on the floor. They're trying to sell it. They don't have a buyer. I mean, they did sell it. It didn't take that long. But
Have
we
you
were in
seen
there.
where those cars have gone?
Yeah, they're like 250.
And they're not stopping. Like I think I've seen some sell 259, 248. They're not going down. But people don't understand the history behind them too, and like the whole point of that car. That car is insane. For anybody who's not familiar with the C7 Corvettes, that car is insanity.
Yeah.
It's specifically like, for example, like we were talking, we've said it multiple times throughout the episodes, but like C7 Z06, insane car for what it is.
Yeah.
C7 ZR1, you're talking about 755 horsepower? Dude, forget about it. And that like people, like a ZR1, you talk about the 2010, 2013 ZR1s, that one was not insanely high horsepower or anything like that, but the mechanics of the motor and the LS9 that's in it, that car, if you're driving it, manual transmission was more common back then, so I think most of those cars are manuals. That car, when you're going from third to fourth gear, where most cars start to kind of like slow their speed gain down, that car in fourth gear, even third to fourth and fourth to fifth, you're still gaining speed. Like you're pulling. Like that's where the car starts pulling away.
Yeah.
Because those cars are built for like, those are the Corvettes that are built for 200 plus mile an hour versus like a C7 Z06 is built for like 180 mile an hour. So the gearing is completely different. So you take like the 2019 Z01 is literally like their best technology and the most power that they can put to the wheels in the newest body of that car. And they're like 1 year, done.
Yeah. So this thing had the ground effects package. So like the side skirts all the way around. And he wasn't super into that because he likes more subdued.
He would literally be sitting on a 260, 275 spec.
But here's the thing. So we went home, we looked at the previous gen ZR1, and it was like 50, 60 grand at the time for one of those. And remember, we're in 2019 where cars went down in value.
Yeah.
Cars did not go up in value.
No one expected what was coming.
No one expected what was
Just
coming.
shortly.
So we were looking at the old ZR1 and we were looking at 142 and we were like, it was like realistically, like you can get this car, but just be okay with losing 50 grand. Obviously, that's not what happened.
Right.
But in 2019, looking at the situation, you had to be okay with maybe losing 50, 60 grand on the car.
Yes and no. I get what you're saying. The only thing about it where it hurts me that you did that and that I can't believe that was the dynamic is GM, when they made the car, they were like 1 year done. They came out and they like told everybody initially 1 year done versus the older gen.
But it still
didn't
didn't sell out, even though they did that.
No,
That's
you're right.
2019.
You're right. It didn't sell out. But like you talk about the older gen ZR1s, you have 2010 to 2013. That's 3 years of a model. So the depreciation on it is going to come more because it's a little more common. 1 year car, regardless if it's sold out or not, eventually it'll work its way to the point where it'll raise in value.
Was the previous ZR1 not 1 year?
No, it was 3 years. They made it from 2010 or 4 years, whatever, however you want to consider it, from 2010 to 2013.
Really?
Yes.
Well, tell me, it's just, so what's crazy is to just think about, because that really puts into perspective the market from 2019 to today.
Telling you.
It doesn't feel like that's not that long. It's only a couple years.
Literally.
But even let's like shorten that timeline to a couple months.
Yeah, that's fair.
And we were looking at two C8 Z06s.
Yep.
And the price of those from July to today
is literally changed completely.
Do you remember what the July one was? It was 200 for a 2LZ.
Like you were getting Z06s that would MSRP at like 130, selling for 210, 205
in July.
Yep.
Listed for 200. I sent you the listing.
Yep.
200,000 July, and today for a 3LZ. This isn't even
3LZ.
This is a nicer one.
Non-Z07 package. I think the MSRP.
The other one wasn't Z07 package either.
Fair.
They were the same spec, except one was 2LZ for 200,000 in July, and this one's 3LZ.
3LZ, and I think that what they have it listed is like 159, and I believe the MSRP is just south of 140. It's like 138, 137. So you're talking about, and the crazy thing is, they had it for 169 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They just recently brought the markup down.
And if they would have had it a month before, it would have been 205.
205, I'm telling you. See, the problem or like the dynamic that's going to go on with these cars specifically now is, I don't know how everybody is or in the current day and age or what's going on with the union strike specifically. General Motors is made the least amount of progress with the union strike. So what supposedly is going to come is, I believe there's going to be more strikes for specifically General Motors. So their production is going to lower when they're already not pumping out Z06s. So you already have this crazy markup and that has flattened, but now they're giving them a reason or a potential
is it going to go back up?
To go back up. I think it's a big guess and a big like dynamic, but if I had to bet, I would probably bet on the fact that they're probably going to go back up at some point.
Yeah.
Like I would say maybe by a month or two from now, we could see the markups back to 205.
Really?
So like I think if you're going to get a Z06 and not worry about the markup or the loss from the markup, buy it, now would be the time. Like buy it within the next 2 weeks.
Now's the time.
Yep, now's the time.
You heard it here first. If you want a Z06, now's the time.
Now's the time. If you can get a Z06 for 160, 159, even 165, I would pull trigger on it.
Because the idea that, the fact that they are down 40 to 50 grand in the past August, September.
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
Literally 2 months.
That's crazy.
Can you believe that you were talking about being down 50 grand?
Imagine buying one for 210 in July.
I can't.
People did that.
I mean, I could imagine it, and I wouldn't care because I have driven a Z06 for the last 2 months, so I don't care. I paid $210 for it because I got the car. But I get what you're saying. Can you believe that we're talking about $50,000 less, and we're still talking about being over sticker?
Yeah,
that is insanity. That is crazy. We're literally discussing the fact that the car has gone from what, depending on the MSRP, $60,000 markup to now we're at $20,000 markup.
We're not even at sticker
and we're getting
yet.
Good deals at $20,000 markup. That's insanity. We're not even at MSRP. I haven't seen right now. There is no Z06 on the road that's depreciated at all. Can you believe that?
Yeah, because you have to go under MSRP to depreciate.
Yeah, well, technically, yes.
Yeah.
Even still, like if you bought it, I mean, okay, fine. Maybe that was not the right way.
People
to
have
say that.
lost. People have
People
lost
have
some
technically
money,
lost money. Well, the thing is, technically yes, technically no. It depends.
but those people were okay with losing money,
Right.
because like you don't pay that much over sticker and expect to keep that value.
That's the whole problem with this whole over sticker trend that's ruining the car industry is people with money and people who have the means to buy a car like that, they don't care the price. So you have, for example, let's take the Z06. Perfect example.
Well, that just used to be depreciation.
It used to
You
be.
used to buy the car at sticker, and then it would drop 50, 60 grand.
Right.
Now you buy 90 over sticker, and it drops 50 or 60 grand. It's the same thing.
The only problem that's happening is right now, the demand is so high and the production is so low that there's this giant gap that the markup is. That's why there's a markup.
Yeah,
because
spread.
Exactly. The
Dealers
spread,
are taking the spread.
They're taking the spread and they're really ringing in that spread.
Yeah.
The second that General Motors, because remember, we're talking about General Motors. We're not talking about Lamborghini. We're not talking about Ferrari. We're not talking about McLaren. GM.
Gavin McDaniel.
Exactly. The second that they ramp up production, like they go old school American production, they start putting out units, those markups are going to go out the door.
Yeah.
So if you pay markup, for example, you get a good deal right now and you pay 20 over sticker for a Z06, no matter what, the second that the production increases and the car becomes more available and the markup goes away, you lose 20 grand like that.
Yeah.
On top of whatever depreciation comes automatically. So like if you're buying anything over sticker, you're literally saying like, I'm willing to lose $50,000 without a doubt. And with the risk of how much depreciation after that. Like imagine you paid, let me tell you this, what I could not imagine, and I would not wish this on my worst enemy, paying over sticker for a McLaren GT.
People did that?
I can't imagine if people did that or not, but could you imagine what you're signing up for?
That would hurt.
You paid $20,000 over a McLaren GT. You're losing 20 grand over sticker, plus you're guaranteed to lose at least $50,000 in depreciation.
Yeah.
To drive the car for 2 months out of the next 2 years.
Surely no one's marking up the Maserati Gran Turismo.
I'm sure I've never seen that before.
Or the SL.
Or the SL.
Is someone paying over sticker for an SL?
They're about to start paying over sticker for GTs at this point.
Yeah, probably.
I'm telling you.
Early on. Why?
You know what it is? I think
there's not even like a social media appeal to that car. I don't think it's gonna like you're gonna post that car.
No, there's not. I think what it is and what I would imagine, or at least what I've maybe seen like personal dynamic is I think a lot of people like with COVID and how everything happened so unexpectedly. I think time is the way that people view time is changing.
Yeah.
So you have like an older gentleman that has money and he's like, I don't want to get older and have this car. I want the car now. Is it what's worth 20, 30,000 for me? Is the time that he's going to gain to get the car now.
For sure.
That's the only side that I can see.
He's not taking
feasible.
that 20,000 with him.
Exactly. He's not exactly. When he dies, he's going to die with $20,000 more, or he's going to die driving a Z06.
He can either give his kids money or enjoy a car.
Exactly. And what if his kids are no good? And he's like, no, I don't want to give these guys 20
Right.
grand.
I'd rather drive the cars.
If it was my old man, I'd be like, don't leave me with 20 bands. Go buy a Z06 when you're gone. Leave me with the Z06.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need the 20 bands.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win situation. But that's the only justifiable thing I could see for paying over market.
Well,
that's it.
That's our market check.
That's our market check wrap up.
The market was like, I mean, from the past couple years is crazy. Past couple months is crazy. The timelines are shifting.
I think the car market and like I guess
I'd love for it to normalize.
I would love for it to normalize too. I don't even know if I want it to normalize because I have no idea what normal is going to look like. What is normal going to look like?
We are getting supercar models shot out of a fire hose, and the market is just eating it
up like nothing.
No problem.
I think we're at this point where like even the whole economy as a whole, like we're at this bursting point. We're like literally like the top is about to just.
Consumerism has never been higher.
It's literally like capitalism is off the charts right now. Like it's something is going to happen. Whether car value drops, real estate drops, recession, whatever, but something is going to happen because it cannot keep sustaining like this.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. Not everybody can pay over sticker every year consistently for models and models and models and models.
Yeah, it's got to end. I think it'll just slowly go down. But then like models like the 458 will keep going up and stuff like that. But these random releases, I don't think will always be going over sticker. Like that's got to end. There's like just too many things coming out.
Could you imagine the payment on an over sticker purchase of like a GT3? What would the monthly be on something like that?
Because you're paying like 500 grand.
I mean, let's take about like for example, I think
the monthly's probably $5 grand.
somewhere. Like, I think depending on your interest rate, which interest rates are high right
Yeah.
now too, crazy.
Even good
You're
credit,
paying
you're
over
paying
sticker
6.5 probably.
plus your tax and everything included. Depending on where you're at, California, you got to pay 9-10% tax on a $300,000 car. You're already $70,000, $60,000, $50,000 over sticker, and you're paying $4,000 a month for the car. How sustainable is that? It's not that. It's not sustainable. And then you look at the whole economy too. Not even talking about cars, talking about the economy now. Like it's going to translate.
Man, the sales tax here sucks though.
Sales tax here sucks.
I would switch my cars out so much more if I didn't have to worry about
sales tax,
paying a $10 transaction fee.
I'm telling you, man, it's the system.
I want a different car. Oh well, 10%. 10%.
It's
crazy.
Like that. God forbid you get it up in the higher.
Yeah, I guess I'll keep the 4C then.
We'll see. Maybe I'll make a switch. We'll see.
But I got one more topic before we close out.
Hit me.
Because we made a promise last week that I was going to drive the G and report.
Yes.
Because you got the G, and I know this is Supercar Connection. G is not necessarily Supercar, but this is what you just got. And I just like literally this morning took it around the block. I gave it a feel, and I gotta say it is really not what I expected.
Give me your honest synopsis, your honest opinion about it.
So,
what was the experience like? I feel like that car's an experience, not just like
it is an experience.
The experience
from the first moment that I like started turning the wheel off the curb and just started like rolling forward, just the size feeling is insane. It's next. And I'm from Texas. I've driven trucks. I've driven I grew up with my mom had a big Suburban, like the big long one.
Right.
So like I know what a big car feels like, but this doesn't feel like a big car. No, it feels like very different than like a Suburban.
It's actually kind of compact inside.
Yeah.
It's not extremely spacious inside.
It doesn't. Right. That's part. I don't know what it is. It's hard. It's really hard to describe. It doesn't feel big, but it feels huge at the same time.
I think the height does one thing of it.
The height is big time.
The height, the way people who haven't driven the car or like even like really even sat in it, the height, the ride height, one thing is it's a unique dynamic.
We pulled up to that Jeep and looked down.
Jeep had beefy tires and maybe had a little bit of a lift, and it literally looked like it was bagged.
And we looked down
on them. I'm telling you, and my G is literally standard. No lift, no crazy tires, no big wheels. Standard height, extremely standard.
And it feels so heavy.
It does.
Like, again, it's really hard to describe. Like, the weight of the car feels heavy. It doesn't feel like a heavy drive. No. It's very light.
Steering wheel's
steering super smooth, super light. It's even kind of squishy. I don't know if I've ever felt such a squishy steering wheel.
I'm telling you.
But at the same time, like the tank thing you were describing, like it feels very tank. It feels like it's 10,000 pounds.
Yes.
You feel like if you hit anything, you're the Ram.
Yep, literally. I feel like people who've driven like maybe like let's say more common like a Jeep.
Yeah.
Like a Jeep feels tanky in a different way.
Oh, for sure.
The problem with the Jeep is you get to 60, 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you feel like your car's going to explode. Like literally like the screws that are holding your car in place are about to just burst, and your car's about to just fall apart.
Yeah.
The G at like 80 miles an hour is where
just gliding.
It excels. It's like where I think it what sold me on the car.
Yeah.
You're cruising 80 miles an hour at that height, and it literally feels like you're on a cloud. And then again, Mercedes interior, sold.
Yeah.
Now I understand the lure, and I'm glad that you do too.
Yeah, I mean, I still prefer to be in a small car down low in most scenarios. But if I was shopping for an SUV, the G would be on the list.
It'd be on the list?
Yeah.
Does that mean I have to get another low car now that I have the G for that you like it or no?
Yeah.
Can I stick with my G-Wagon? Or should I get something that's low to the ground now so that you could drive it and like it?
Yeah, you should get something low to the ground too.
Something low to the ground?
Yeah.
All right. See if I can make something happen.
Yeah.
Because I like the G, but if I got to make another move so that I can get something to the Gavin McDaniel experience is honed, because I guess the Corvette's not enough, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
see what we can make happen.
I still got to drive the C8.
You haven't driven my C8 yet, have you?
No, I've driven my father-in-law's, but I never drove yours.
You drove my Tesla?
Yeah.
The G-Wagon, and you haven't driven my C8?
No, and you've driven the 4C.
Oh, are you kidding me? I've driven the shit out of that thing.
Yeah, you've whipped the 4C.
I've whipped the 4C. That's practically like I'm its uncle at that point. I get in there and it's familiar with me. It's
Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe
behind the wheel.
I get in there and it knows it. When I try to go move the seat back and I realize that this is all the way back and I'm crunched up like that.
As far as you're going, Uncle Joe.
It knows. It knows. But we'll stay tuned. See what happens next episode. Maybe I can come up with something.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got today.
See you next time.
We're out.